or earned oh, we got it to work. Okay, perfect. Tiffany earned the Build Your Own Incentive last month too, with signing 6 and earning that $400. So that's awesome. These are all of the people who earned the tumblers in January. So we have Tiffany, Lauren, Brianna, Rachel, Lacey, Nancy, Dana, Carly, Kimberly, and Tammy. And so congrats to you guys. Okay, we're going to jump right into our February calendar. So this is in Rising Jewels with more details too. But so tonight we're having our call with Sarah, and then we're going to jump right into book study after our call. This Thursday we're having our stories event, and it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to try the same 15-minute style like we did last month, but instead of like a this person speak, then this person speak, then this person speak, we're going to try to make it like pretty conversational. So Kristen Lyons is going to be like leading that, like hosting it, I guess, and interviewing, asking questions for Brittany, Melanie, and Noemi. And we have an invite challenge going on in Rising Jewels. So the posts are going to be there every single morning around 7:30 Central Time, and kind of just with like very basic, like, hey, do this. And basically, we do these events, and sometimes nobody has anyone on them, and sometimes people have a lot of people on it. And I think the main difference is whether we're promoting it and whether you know about it. So this invite challenge is really just a way for you guys to like for it to be front of mind so that you can say like, oh yeah, we do have this event. This is a really great thing to invite potentials to hear health stories. We do have little one-liners of each of their stories for, and they're going to be posted tomorrow in the invite graphic. So make sure that you check that out. I'm going to send them in the threads too, because I know that the threads are easier to see. Next week, we're going to have just a regular accountability group and book study on the 12th. And then we have our gold and above earned call, and Joanna Miller is going to be leading that one. And then we have Punta Cana. So if you earned Leaders Retreat 17th through the 20th, you will be gone. We are not going to have a normal accountability group and book study. We are going to have a team power hour led by me. I'm not going to be able to make it to Punta Cana this year. And so I'm going to lead a power hour during that. And then we are also going to have kind of the same Q&A style biz event on the 22nd. And that is going to be with Tiffany Bogle and Ashley, blanking on her last name right now, but you guys know who Ashley is. She's a senior silver under Carly, and she is in Eastern time zone. And so she doesn't get to make a lot of these calls because she's a teacher and she's asleep a lot. But she's going to share on this, and this is going to be awesome in that both of these girls went Fast Start Silver. We're going to talk about why they wanted to share, how it was simple, not simple, but simple, not easy, but simple, and how they can make money by doing this in a non-salesy. It's going to be really perfect for your happy wholesalers that maybe want to get their products paid for, something like that. And so it's going to be a Q&A kind of thing. I've got a couple questions. We're going to talk to about like who were their 3 people that they got to sign up. And so both of those girls went Fast Start Senior Silver and are having good results right now. And so they're going to share with us. And so we're going to do the same thing. We're going to have an invite challenge this week, but leading up to it. And then at the end of the month, we're going to have a follow-up challenge, Magic Week challenge, kind of a thing, just to try to help you close the month and hopefully get some wins at the end of the month. Am I missing anything on that calendar?
Well, we may have a surprise
Oh, yes, go ahead.
something popping in Rising Jewels tomorrow. Um, Something fun for the whole team. Karen and I kind of were talking a little bit about it today, brainstorming. So be looking at Rising Jewels. I know we talk about this every single week. there really is such important stuff that is in that page. And if you are new here, or if you are newer here and you've not really utilized Rising Jewels, our team page, before, there's a search bar. And that search bar is actually gold, because if you type in, let's say you're struggling with retention, and if you type in retention or hashtag retention 101, if you type in a keyword, for the most part, I guarantee you're going to find really great resources. Oftentimes, training videos or podcasts, oftentimes script examples, oftentimes walking through like dialogue. So if you're at a place where you're feeling like, I don't really know how to do this particular thing, or I'm unfamiliar with this particular thing, utilize Rising Jewels. It is really good. And all that to say, we will be dropping something fun probably tomorrow to get our team really excited and to pour into you guys.
Thanks, Em. I had forgotten that we were going to share that. So thank you. Okay, so now I'm just gonna, can you guys hear me? I just got the your internet connection is unstable message. Okay, okay. So we're just gonna fly through these. These are all in the Help Center. And I know that the Help Center, it's easier for someone to just tell you what it is. But if you have a question about one of the incentives, look in the Help Center. It like lays it all out for you. So we are having this build your own incentive. This is the same as it was last month. Okay, and then we have a new slim down and get balance challenge. It's the exact same thing that they did in January, but it's just they're doing it again in February. The free slim is still available with the weight loss combo and an extra bag of slim, and then you have to use the code free slim. So those 3 different things to be able to get that free slim. And then the combo that has triplex plus reset with the free balance is also still available in February. Right now, currently through the 15th of the month, memberships are $1, and then they are going to have a savings on their next purchase in March. So kind of like what they did people. So they're doing that again. And then if you sign 3 people this month, you're getting this really cute box and lunch bag. Face is my internet just bad? Ugh.
It's just really choppy.
I'm sorry, you guys. Maybe I'll go closer to my office and see if that helps. Okay. And then we're also have give 10 and save 10 like we have the last few months. And then next we have Sarah, and she's going to be joining us. And then that was all that I had so that I can quit talking. And Sarah, I'm trying to remember how we even connected. It's been a long time, so I'm not exactly sure. But Sarah is one of my favorite people to follow. I've just loved her Instagram and her Facebook of like what she's doing and how she's sharing. And I think that you're going to all be very inspired by Sarah's story. And so I'm just going to let you take it away.
That is so funny because I was trying to remember too, and I couldn't remember. But I know we connected somehow online, and like we did a mom's event once of like an event of like moms that work from home now with Plexus. But anyway, my name is Sarah Knollenberg, and I am so honored to be sharing with you guys tonight. I love your leaders. I've gotten to know Emily for a couple years now, and Kara, and I've gotten to meet a couple other leaders at a couple past events. And I will say one thing that I just love about your leaders is the way that they make people feel just so loved and known. When I can remember conversations with Emily, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like we're gonna go deep, and I just want to like share all the things with you. And she just like listens with love and wisdom, and you're just like, I want to be like you. And then as the more like leaders I've gotten to know on your team, I'm like, oh my goodness, it's like a thing on their team. They're just really great at this. And so I know you guys have amazing leaders, and I just have been so prayerful. I'm like, Lord, what would you have me share tonight? And so I just was going to share a little bit about my story, and then kind of was in a season where I felt really stuck recently and wanted to share about some things that I learned through that, and getting unstuck. And hopefully it will help you, whether you are brand new in the business, whether you have been here a while. We'll leave with some kind of nugget. But I am a mom of 3 boys. My husband is a worship pastor. I just celebrated 6 years, January, I think it was January 30th, that I've gotten to be a stay-at-home mom because of Plexus. And that is why I started the business. I was super skeptical of network marketing, probably like a lot of us, never thought I would do anything like this. Didn't really even know why I was skeptical. It was just like a thing in my family. Like we're just like looked down upon it, but didn't really have a reason. And so I actually really, really loved my job. I was an events coordinator for a nonprofit Christian ministry. I got to travel. It was super fun. But then I got pregnant with my first son and everything changed. And I just wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. And I kept praying for a way that I could stay home. And I think a lot of me just thought the Lord was going to like plop money on our lap. I'm sitting on my floor right now because my 2-year-old kept coming out and finding me. So I was trying to hide. Um, he was supposed to be asleep like an hour and a half ago, but so I kept just like praying for a way that I could stay home. I remember Googling things I could do from home, and I just felt hopeless on ways that I could do, ways I could find something. I remember thinking maybe I could like refurbish furniture, but I am like the least craftiest mom ever. And so I'm like, okay, that's not a good idea. Maybe I could coupon, but that wasn't a thing. And so I just felt really hopeless. And so my baby was born and I went to work and I found someone to babysit my child and cried a lot. And I was able to go part-time, but I still have 3 days a week that I was not with him. And so I had one friend that did network marketing for another company, and she was like really the only person I knew that like did it as a business. And so I remember calling her, asking her, we were just kind of acquaintances for if this is something that maybe I could do. And I remember her saying that I needed to have $1,000 to get started. And it was kind of like next step was for me just to like save up $1,000 because I definitely did not have that in savings. And y'all, she never followed up with me. So just great tip. Follow up with people that you talk about with the business, even if they don't message you back, send them a follow-up message. But I'm so thankful looking back that you didn't follow up because then I started seeing people post about Plexus. And what's interesting is I actually knew someone else that I used to work with a long time ago that posted about Plexus. But I never, like her post never really resonated with me. And so I started seeing some girls from college that started posting about Plexus. And I literally would go to Facebook, I would type their names in and go and read their post. One girl, I clicked her link because that was like a long time ago. People would post their link to buy sometimes. I know we don't do that anymore, but I would click it and I almost bought like a couple times, but I just like kept watching their post and they weren't even good posts. Like one post was like a graphic. If you've been in Plexus for a while, you might remember it. It went around of like her flat tummy and her bloated belly, and it was like a graphic. I don't know, but I was like drawn to that post. So I was like, that's me. And so I could just tell like they were creating a community, and that really inspired me, but also that I needed the products. And so one of the girls I had kind of met real quick at back in college. And so I messaged her, I ordered the products for a month, never told her I was thinking about it for the business. I just was interested in the products. And I kind of thought in my head, I'll try them for a month. If I like them, maybe this could be a thing to let me stay home. And so I loved them. I loved the products. I felt great. It was awesome. But then I was super skeptical and I quit. And I took about 6 weeks. I never even messaged the girl that I was quitting. I just like didn't turn off my subscription. And I remember her messaging me. She did follow up and she was like letting me know that there was sales happening and was asking me how I was feeling off the products. And I just was praying. And I can remember feeling that during that time, the Lord just kept bringing Plexus back to me. And I had this nervousness, but this excitement about it. And I was like, just had this feeling if I didn't do it, I was going to miss out. And so it felt so out of my comfort zone and so scary though. And so I remember I signed up and I just decided I was going to go for it. And I messaged before I signed up though, I messaged the girl that I was like wanting to do the business, and there happened to be an opportunity event that night with a couple other diamonds. She added me to it. I watched it and I'm like, I'm in. And then signed up and just went all in, not knowing anything that I was doing. And y'all, she was a silver ambassador. I didn't know what her rank was, but she was brand new. But right after I had joined, a little bit after, she went gold. And so I did not care how much money she was making. I never even thought to ask that. I didn't care what her rank was. And so no matter what your rank is, do not let that hold you back from signing up or sharing the business boldly with people, because I was signing up with the intention of replacing my income. I like senior gold was my first big goal. I needed 20,000 a year to be able to quit my job. And I didn't even think, like, I knew she only been doing it for a little bit. So just encourage you, be bold with it, share about it. And her just sharing about what was possible just built that vision and belief for me. And so it took me about 8 months to replace my income. And I will never forget the day walking out of my office, tears like all day long. And I got to become a stay-at-home mom. And now it's been 6 years. I kept running though, because I was like, this is amazing. I was having so much fun. It was a blast helping people, sweating so much stuff out of my comfort zone. But I went Emerald in about 21 months. And I can remember right before I went Emerald, it was our first leaders retreat, which I actually met Emily on leaders retreat. And because she had shared at convention, I remember like, oh my gosh, that's that girl who shared on stage. And I think she had just gone Emerald. But anyway, so I was on that cruise and someone was like, oh, you should definitely network with people, ask them what's working for them. And I remember thinking, I do not need to ask people what is working for them. Our team is on fire. We're amazing. We're about to go diamond. Like, they should be asking me what we're doing because our team is so great. And I'm not even kidding y'all. Like, that is literally what I was thinking. And I probably thought I was very humble, but obviously I was not. And so the Lord, I mean, he is so gracious in the way that he refined us in this business, but he knew I had some lessons to learn, some leadership lessons. And so we went Emerald really fast. And then I was really, really focused on just like a quick success mindset. I was focused on how can I get Emerald 300 orders? I need 300 orders. Like, that was my focus. And it was points over people. And so, like, yes, I love people. Like, I love doing it, but I definitely had way more of a focus on points than I was on developing people with me and finding leaders and locking arms with people and helping people. And if I could get an order in, like, that was more my focus. And so I really had to learn the Lord. I mean, he probably was trying to teach me this for like ever, but he really used this business and a season of hitting Emerald and then going back to teach me people over points and to change my mindset on the hustle mindset and to really, yes, burn you out so fast. That is so true. And not feel good. Yes, Emily, I totally agree. And so we hit Emerald a couple other times. I went Emerald April 2019. And then, but every time we would re-rank, it was always like this big jump. It was always like crazy incentives, a big push, always focused on points. And then when I just had this shift, when the Lord finally like got a hold of me and was realizing like, I don't want to build a business like this. Like, I want to build a business that it's people over points, that it's significance over success, that I'm adding value to people's life, that them being part of this team, a community, like helping people so much bigger than just hitting this next rank. But it took me some time to realize that. And so I decided, I was like, you know what? I don't care how long it takes me to re-rank Emerald, but I want to do it in a way that's sustainable, that I'm helping other people, that I'm locking arms with people, that we're building this community. And so that's where I've been at. And then we had a lot of life happen. We had a baby, we moved a couple states. My husband started a new job, we started homeschooling. And kind of life started to settle down for a little bit at the beginning of last year. And I was ready for like the next thing in my business. But I felt really stuck. And I felt like, I remember that like we had the lowest ads that we had in a really long time. We had been a very stable senior Ruby, like holding those senior Ruby points, but it just felt like I'm never going to see that growth. Like, did I tap out? Like, is this the limit, like the lid that I've hit? Like, can I go any more? Can I get back to that excitement? And can I get back to the growth that I used to see? Can I get back to that without getting back to that hustle mindset and keeping it, people and so I don't know if anyone is a Keith Callahan fan. His book, I have it right here, Built to Last. It's so good. If you have not read it, it is awesome. but I was just listening to this video. He said, and there's 4 things that he recommends to ask yourself or to do when you are feeling stuck or someone on your team is getting stuck. It's get clear on what you want, clear on what it's going to take, clear on your Achilles heel. So like what is holding you back, what's keeping you from reaching your goal, and then clear on how you're going to get yourself inspired. I'm going to put these in here. The numbers aren't going to be right. Sorry. Okay. But I remember having a conversation with one of my uplines and talking about like, well, hey, you are at a great place. Like this is a good place. It's not like you're at a bad place. If you want more, are you willing? First off, what do you want? What do you want in your business? What do you want next? And then are you willing to get uncomfortable? Are you willing to make those sacrifices, or, willing to take what it's going to take for that next level? Because it will take more to get to that next level. And for me, I was like, okay, I really want business builders to lock arms with and to do this with. I want to help people do what I'm doing. I want to have a team that we're doing this together, this culture of like, just, we've got this community that encourages and inspires each other, and we do life together. And I'm willing to do what it takes. And then the question of, okay, well, what's holding you back? Like, why have you not re-ranked, Emerald? What are those things? And I know for me, it was fear of reaching out to people in the business. I've always been like 90% product reach out, percent business reach out. And it was people that I knew I wasn't going to run into. Some people are different. They're like, I'll reach out to people that I personally do life with, but not someone like I might be friends with on social media. And I'm like, oh, I'm the opposite. I will reach out to you if we're friends on social media, but like people I actually do life with that I might actually see after I reach out to, whew, that's scary. And Keith Callahan talks about in his book, basically that you want to get your list down, that I'm not willing to do that list as close down to possible to 0 to be able to get yourself to that next point in your business. And so I just had this realization. I'm like, okay, I've always been consistent in my business. I'm like never not consistent, but I'm like, if I keep working my business the same way, then I'm going to keep getting the same results. And I remember going to convention and a team retreat last year and just thinking about the people that I was dreaming about doing this with, the people that I'm like, oh, they're on my scary list that I want to do this with. I'm like, if I don't reach out to them, I'm going to be at convention next year. I'm going to be at someone else's team retreat again without them. And so if I want them to be here with me, if this is the kind of community I want to build with people like that, I have to reach out to them. Like, oh, so I can remember driving home from convention, like voice messaging my mother-in-law, voice messaging my cousin, like, y'all, my cousin, like literally I talked to her when I first started the products and like kind of mentioned the business, and that was it. And she's someone I was like, oh my goodness, I would love to do this with her and she'd be amazing at it. But it took me that long. And so sometimes you the things to do, but we're putting fear and letting that hold us back. Y'all, she was actually open and we've had some awesome conversations. She has not joined yet, but we have had some awesome conversations about the business since then. So you just never know. Okay, I took notes. I wouldn't get super lost. Okay, so then I decided that I need to do some more things that were crazy out of my comfort zone. And I'm the person that when I am out of my comfort zone, I sweat. So I was like, okay, I need to sweat more. I need to get a red face and sweat more. So started switching out from mainly reaching on the products to mainly reaching out on the business. So like I used to be like, okay, 3 new product reach outs a day, to switching that to 3 new business reach outs a day. And fine tuning that craft of someone when they said they were open on talking with them. I used to just message them like, okay, great, you're open about the business. Let's talk about this. But then it was like, hey, do you have 15 minutes? Can we get on the phone call? If y'all have listened to Christina Williams, when she's on Brittany Howard's podcast, talking about how she develops a leader, this is what she said she does. And she says this in other videos that I have watched for years. And if I finally was like, okay, I'll do it. So started reaching out to people about the business and then asking them scary things. Can we go get lunch and talk about the business? Can we go get coffee? Can we hop on the phone and we can talk more? And I just follow Christina Williams, her conversation flow when someone's interested on the business. I started doing my own team calls. I started doing my own coaching calls. I started taking ownership of my team. I made the goal of hosting a local event once a month. And that has been so fun. It's been awesome. We've done a ton of sip and sees. I did a sip and see at my house, at my gym. I've had a couple level ones who let me host a sip and see for them. On this coming Saturday, we're having a Galentine's lunch downtown. I live in Durham in North Carolina. And so we picked a restaurant. And part of me, I'm like, oh my goodness, what if no one comes? But that is literally just a negative thought. And I'm like, if I don't plan it, if I don't do it, people aren't going to come. So what's the whole, like that baseball, like build it and they will come, whatever. I started posting more about the business. I started sharing more on Instagram and just letting go of the perfectionism that I was putting on myself with having to have the perfect niche on Instagram. Amber Miller and Trisha Regar both have an incredible YouTube video on posting on social media that go listen to it if you want to post more on social media, but you're scared. And then one last thing I will say that I started doing was visualizing more. Megan Malakovic has an awesome video about the importance of taking time every single day to visualize your dream and what you're working towards. And so trying to habit stack, if anyone's read James Clear, Atomic Habits, but like when I get in the shower, I'm like, okay, it's my time to visualize. And I sit there, when I'm in the shower, I visualize the dreams that I have for my family. And so the things that you're working towards, like pick a time of the day that you think about your dreams and imagine them. Like imagine yourself on stage with your jewel. Imagine yourself seeing your team on stage, or imagine yourself and your family doing the things that you have been dreaming about. Or like one of the things I'm like, oh my gosh, I opened my savings account and I see a $10,000 in my savings account. Like just things that you want to see for your family, taking time to visualize that. Megan Malakovic, just if you YouTube her, she's got like an awesome video that talks more about it. And then, yeah, I love that Emily put the faces of your kids when you surprise them with the Disney trip. I visualize like all the time. When I go Sapphire, my boys know we're going to Disney and they're like, Mommy, it's taking forever. Why? I'm like, I'm working on it, boys. But I visualize us taking a family photo in front of the castle, the Magic Kingdom castle. Like that's one thing that I always visualize. So, I want to encourage you, like, what is the thing? What do you want? What is the thing that you want to go for? Are you willing to get uncomfortable for it? Are you willing to do the things that it's going to require of you? And then what is that thing that maybe you had the goal last year and it didn't happen. And so it's the same goal this year, which is nothing wrong with that. But why didn't you hit it last year? What's something that is your Achilles heel that's holding you back? And then what's something that can get you inspired? Keith Callahan talks about doing the scary, bold things is going to build your confidence and that's going to inspire you. What is that next thing that like, okay, it's going to get me uncomfortable. I'm going to sweat. What is that next thing for you? So that's all I have. Thanks for letting me share my story.
Sarah, so good. Thank you so much for sharing. One thing that you kind of like briefly touched on that I want to just kind of highlight, it just came to my mind at the very end of what you were saying, is you mentioned in the Build to Last book, you talked about, or he talks about what are the things you're not willing to do. And I think that we talk about like, okay, I'm going to do this, but like when you write down a list of things that I'm not willing to do this, that puts it on paper. And like, I would encourage all of us to really sit down and think like, okay, what are things that I don't want to do? What are things that I'm not willing to do? And write that down and look at those of like, okay, well, what can I take off of this list? What can I actually do? And so do you feel like for you, Sarah, that was specifically the business reach outs? Is that the biggest change that you've done in the last year?
Yeah, I would say my biggest change was the business reach outs and following back up with people on the business. And if people if like maybe I did reach out to a scary person, if they said no, but they were still someone I just like totally dreamed about being on my team. And kind of like Emily, her story, like just continuing to reach out and not just being a one-time reach out and then being done with it. I had to build my belief and my confidence in that. So
Casey had a good question in the chat, and she wants to know, what do you find that seems to be helpful for for successful in-person events? Like, what has been the biggest hit for you for an in-person event that you've been doing locally?
We have been doing brunch sip and sees the last couple of times have been really successful. And they've been fun, and we've had food. We've had like a good food. I'm like, I need good food if I'm gonna have people over. And then having people share their story and lots of samples out. That has been that's what we've been kind of doing the most of, is brunch sip and sees, and inviting a lot of people, because I remember my first sip and see, I like set an graphic on like Facebook Messenger, and that was it. But then learning more to like send an actual like legit invite and then follow up with them and really help people get there made a big difference too. But I made a video on my sip and sees that I can share with y'all if you want. But we've been loving the brunches.
That would be awesome. I know that we would definitely take advantage of and watch that video for sure. So since the making the switch with the business building reach outs, like, how have you found business builders? Have you created new silvers, new golds, like in the past year since you've made that transition? Like, how has that been for you?
It has been awesome. It has been a slow process. I would say one thing that before, like for reaching for goals, it was always like this massive goal in a really short time, and just like, how many orders can we get in? But this has been more of like a slow, steady growth, and it's taken more patience from me. But it has been awesome and totally worth it. I have never gone on a leader retreat with a team, and we had 4 girls on our team earn it, and 3 of them are going. And we've had a couple new rank ups. I hadn't before, before when I was feeling stuck, I hadn't created a new gold leg in quite a while. And like for someone that was actually wanting to join the business. And so I've got a new gold leg who's working for the business, and I've had a couple people join specifically for the business, which before I've never had someone. It's always been like an accidental, loves the products and then open to the business. So it's been cool to see the fruit, but it definitely did not happen right away. It wasn't like the next month, for sure.
Can I say
Okay, any other questions? Oh, go ahead.
So I love so much about Sarah. There's so much I love about Sarah. And Sarah, you don't know this, but Kara asked you to come to be our guest speaker for this call. And I was like, I was going to ask her to be our guest speaker when it was my month. So you were like a hot commodity. But I think because I know you and I know your story, and this is something that Sarah did not talk about, but in her journey, her support system just kind of stopped. And so she was like on her own doing her own business. And I think that when I think about Sarah, the word ownership comes to my mind always, because Sarah did not fall back and like, woe is me, you know, I don't have the support of my upline, like none of that. Like, she just took ownership over her business and really, really sought out growth. She sought out like personal development. She sought out, like she was saying, like starting up her own team calls, doing her own thing. And so that's something that I have just always been so impressed with, just this attitude of like positivity and, okay, I'm going to do this. I have this goal and I'm going to do this. So ownership is one of the words that really comes to my mind when I think about Sarah. And then the second thing, and she didn't say this, but you know, we all have highs and lows in our businesses. We all do. And so I am so excited when I see Sarah being able to like climb her way out of a really hard place in her business, like she was talking about, and then seeing her in the leaderboards for all of these leader retreats that we've been having with the cruise and with Punta Cana. She's up there. Like I love you, but I don't know the exact number where you've ended, but I know she's like in the top like 50, right? Am I right in that? Like, you're up there. And
I think I was exactly 50.
oh, see, look at that. But that's amazing. And that's out of hundreds and thousands of people. And she's up there working her business, taking that ownership and getting creative and working and doing hard things. And I appreciate you and I admire you and I love you. And I'm just so grateful for your voice in the field, a woman who loves the Lord, who loves her family, who loves people, being able to say, this is where I went wrong with points over people, and now I'm reversing it, and now it's people over points, and look at how fulfilled I am, and look at the growth of my team. There's something purposeful here in what we do when we focus on people over points. So I'm very, very grateful for you and your voice in the field.
Thank you, Emily. That is so sweet. I really appreciate that. And I will just say, like, the one thing, oh, I totally lost my train of thought, what I was going to say. I don't know. I'm just going to say thank you. That was so sweet. The Lord has been so gracious, and I am so thankful for the way that he refines us in this business.
Sarah, thank you so much for hopping on. Does anyone have any last final questions for Sarah before we let her go and we can transition into book study?
Oh, I thought of it.
Oh,
I was
tell
gonna
us.
say really quick. I was like, I said before, like, it was really fun when I was ranking up really fast. Like, can I get back to that? It is so much more fun now doing this with others, helping them see success and helping them reach prizes and reach ranks and helping them find what they're looking for their family. Like, it totally is. It is so much more. It is so fun, and that can come back. So if anyone is feeling like, can I get back to that season? You 100% can, and it can be even more fun than it was before.
I love that. This business is this, right? It is. And so even in those low seasons that we have to remember what drives us too, and knowing that it will pick back up again, we will, and you can create fun, right? You can have fun without signing people. You can have fun without signing people, even though it is fun to sign people. It is fun to bring people along and do that, but it's not really what matters. And what you talked about being the significance over success, it's huge. So thank you, Sarah. If you don't mind to send me the video for your sip and sees, I'll pass that along to the threads, and everybody go follow her. I've been seeing all kinds of your reels on Instagram, so keep those up, because that's probably one of those things that I'm unwilling to do, that I need to look at and see kind of, as I look at those things. But thank you, Sarah. And we will let you go, and then we will transition into our book study. Do you want to go ahead and do that?
If you are unfamiliar with where you're going, if you're in Kara's group, you're going to go to group 1. If you are in Liz and Lacey's group, I didn't see Hannah on. So if you're in Liz and Lacey's group and Hannah's group, you'll be in 2, and everybody else will be with me in 3.
Wee. Woohoo.
And if you need help, let me know and I can assign you.
Okay. Bye, guys.
And you can go ahead and stop the recording too.
Okay.
Thank you for doing that.
Yeah.